was threatening to shoot her as they knew she was being watched by them. Something strange was starting to happen. She started to hear the soft tone of voices her flatmates upstairs. Now she was transmitting the unbelievable case of identity theft. So I've got this friend who had her identity stolen about 10 years ago. Her information fell into the hands of scammers several times over while losing her digital authentication, so she couldn't sign into anything with her name, date of birth, and email. She struggled to keep an email as she was always getting blocked at the domain server. For over 3 years, life was really difficult. She was isolated in more ways than one, and something was very wrong. She just didn't hold any proof to what it might be, only that digitally she had a lot of complicated problems that no one could relate to. She felt violated and always felt like she was being watched. This affected her mental health significantly. She was very uncomfortable being intimate and showered in her bathing suit as she always felt exposed, like she had no privacy. Then COVID hit, and that's when things got weird. A radio station started to gain her attention. Her technological state got better, but she was to find out her life was now shared with a radio station. She discovered the station now had her stolen identity. It was her biometric data that had been stolen. Around the time her identity had been stolen, she was at the end of a toxic relationship with a much older man who must have had something to do with her identity theft. He had betrayed her, breaking her heart, stealing her biometric data, and created an AI bully bot that operated on a website. She didn't know this at the time, and it's only been something she's difficultly put together recently, like in the last year. So it was the beginning of COVID. It was brought to her attention that the station had her stolen biometric data. An investigative journalist was the first person to give any recognition to her identity being so exposed. She assumed was investigating her. My friend fell in hopelessly in love with her. A few years past, this friend of mine had written 27 journals full of correspondence, mostly silly love letters and questions about what was happening to her as she was transmitting her body. All its noises broadcasting her environment. The words she wrote were read straight of the page. So here is someone who has totally no privacy, but at least the suspected perverse no longer had control of the situation. She felt safer than she had been. She didn't realize this journalist had dehumanized her and mocked and criticized her right from the beginning, and hadn't been interested in what she had wrote. She had poured her heart out and shared so much of herself to this woman. It was a little over the first half of 2025. My friend rented a cold and dark space in Rosedale. Little did she know the people upstairs were going to violate her privacy with cameras trying to perv on her. Even in the toilet were cameras, and the male upstairs had a semi-automatic and was threatening to shoot her as they knew she was being watched by them. Something strange was starting to happen. She started to hear the soft tone of voices her flatmates upstairs. Now she was transmitting and receiving like a piece of technology. She escaped that accommodation with her and her pet turtle life, but how unlucky for her. The next lot of flatmates upstairs were trying to do the same thing, turning her intimate times into cash by uploading online intimate acts of my friend showering, getting changed, decked. She didn't know how exactly they were doing it, but it was like whoever had her biometric data online could see her living her life live. One day this journalist mocked her in a very cruel way that left my friend so heartbroken. She grabbed her journals and drove to the Foursquare, brought a pack of razors and a bottle of meths, and drove to the graveyard to set her journals on fire. That connection she once had was broken. She slid her wrists and set the journals on fire. Her car went up in flames too. She survived. She hadn't wanted to. Her mental and psychological health. She had struggled with having no privacy, never really knowing what had happened to her, what was happening to her. She moved out and into the same situation. The people upstairs had access to her stolen identity. She asked for help. Instead, they took advantage and still are. Complicatedly enough, there were no cameras, no surveillance equipment, nothing. She was transmitting to a website that has an AI bleep bot operating from. So that meant whoever were using that website had access to her life for months. These people upstairs associated her with this bleep bot and thought she would have many intimate moments to take and share online. Every time she used the toilet, she was getting uploaded. To revenge bleep, they even left their jobs. My friend in serious distress, and being able to hear them all the time, being able to hear the studios still too. Unfortunately, people were constantly calling her a bleep. This was breaking her heart. She wasn't a bleep. She was covered in scars from self-harming over the years. So upstairs continues to watch her constantly. They're not making any money from my friend, and this journalist continues to mock and criticize her and has posted a news report twice. She thinks there could be more. Titled bleep of COVID, saying she does bleep and is a bleep worker. This journalist is trying to publicly expose and humiliate my friend into killing herself. She is deliberately trying to cause my friend harm. She doesn't want how badly she treated my friend to come out, as it would make her look bad. All my friend needs is proof of any reports this journalist has made about her. Still, to this day, the verbal abuse is constant. More news reports are threatened, along with being called a bleep at least 60 times a day she prays something will be done soon so the abuse from this journalist stops. Upstairs are not making any money from extorting my friend, and there is a website with several deepfakes uploaded to from the times my friend has any visitors. They threaten to bleep and turn my friend into bleep movie daily. She is afraid for her life and can't leave the house. Says upstairs threatened to poison her turtle's tank with rat poison. She feels very unsafe and just wants the abuse to stop. My friend experience from having her identity stolen is a one of a kind and is off the charts in severity. The violation is extreme. She needs proof of this website with this AI bleep bot and proof of the deepfakes, proof that she's being abused. She shared this with me and wanting some exposure and feedback on what is happening to her. She wants this website taken down as it's giving scumbag people opportunity to sexually psychologically extort her for just over 10 years. Her life has been very traumatic and she is deeply worried for her future. She has no proof yet and is worried about the publicity/awareness this cold-hearted journalist could be creating. I know that's a lot to read and I will repost a shorter version in a few days. Questions welcome.